Oh. Josh, it's for you.
Oh, hi, AD. Welcome to Columbus, Ohio. This is our names. This is Debbie's handwriting.
That's Josh's handwriting. We got married in like 3 weeks. And so for the wedding, one of the sort of choices that we made was this neon sign. Done and done. This is Jim. The joke is that when I went away on set, Josh needed another thing to follow him around and ask for snacks and attention.
Jim does just that. We did the very sort of American thing, having your dog be the ring bearer in your wedding. And so he's got the bow tie.
I think one of the things that you will notice as you explore the home is that we like things that look like other things. And it sort of was just a few playing with scale and surrealism, and then we've now acquired a lot of other things. So we have corn and we have cabbage that looks like flowers.
But it's not corn. It's actually a stool.
That's right. That's a good point. It's not corn. It's also bigger than corn would be. So the bookshelf, this is a place where I had stuff from my previous place. He had stuff, and it was a lot of like putting pieces together. A lot of our friends are authors or writers, and so their books are up here. My mom's book is up here. This is a Blockbuster card. This is from Home Goods. This is from Mexico. All of these things, sort of have a story. So we have to show you this. So as we started getting into art, we realized that like a sweet flex when you buy an adult home is to have like a bust. His brother, Jordan, who's one of our best friends, his girlfriend is a really talented sculptor out of Germany. And we had the opportunity to commission a bust. And there was only one option for us. Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
And he's kind of just a guiding light.
A beacon of nobility. We love fresh herbs. I love to cook. We love beverages. These are secret fridges. Love a hidden fridge. That was an exciting part of the house.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get you something to drink? There you go.
Right here is probably the area of the house that we spend maybe the most amount of time, to be honest. And when people are here, conversations will carry on until 3, 4 in the morning.
These stools, we just wanted something to add some roundness, soften the shape. We wanted something sort of soft, cozy, being that we did realize that we were just constantly spending so much time here. Here we are in, what do we call it?
It's a cathedral room, sometimes the sunroom. It's wild. It's actually 26-foot high ceilings. When we first moved here, I think the very first thing that Debbie wanted to do was to get our friend Stabs Mila to come out and mural this room. So we had a huge scaffolding. We were all up there. Debbie got into the brushes and I got some paint out, and we were all up there kind of throwing paint on the wall.
And then this is lichen. It's the softest, you can't feel it, but this is lichen, which also exists in the moss on our mantle. So the mantles have reindeer moss. It's also local Ohio.
I think as long as I've known Debbie, I've known that she loves the idea of a treehouse. So I actually proposed to Debbie in a treehouse in New Zealand. Yeah, and then we've got some of these coasters that Debbie's mom made after we got engaged.
What's great about this room is that it sort of is a place after dinner, after s'mores or whatever, we sort of can gather with friends. We've had people get tattoos in here. We've had people talk themselves back from panic attacks in here. This has been a really special, connective place. This is the main living area. We certainly had a vision, and we came across Fawn Galli's work, and she's based out of New York, and she introduced us pretty quickly to an associate of hers, Ashley Moyer, who actually lives 5 minutes from us here. And together, they really brought this vision to life. We had extra fabric from the curtains, and we were able to make these throw pillows and actually cover the piano bench as well, which is something I've had since I was a child. So it was kind of really meaningful because we like resourcefulness, but we also really like cohesion. Josh wanted a white couch.
I think really knowing you're an adult is understanding and accepting the responsibility to clean the white couch.
So I'm not yet, but...
And I clean it. And there are paw prints and there are chocolate stains.
And if you look close enough, you could see Jim's spot and my spot. Mine's the chocolate stains.
This piece is done on wood, and it's kind of a sort of a gradient effect that looks like a portal.
When we go to sort of our worlds and we have these silly little schmoozing things, this is sort of a rope ladder to our treehouse. We can sort of envision this, and it'll bring us through our portal home to our treehouse, to our friends, to our games, to our vintage furniture.
This is what we call the game room. In reality, there's kind of games all over the house. This is sort of the dedicated zone for board games, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not a fan of.
He does not like games. At night, you could catch me playing Connect 4 with myself, but he won't play.
I think when we moved in, this space we had no idea. And so we kind of came up with this idea to put a boxing ring.
No, Josh came up with the idea to put a boxing ring. He goes, what if we put a boxing ring in the basement? And I was like, what if we put a boxing ring in the basement?
Now that it's here and it's in, it feels like this is perfect.
This is an homage to some books and to two of our great accomplishments. I was my school mascot. I'm sure you're familiar with our work. This is the bathroom for all of it. It's clutch to take a shower, obviously, as this is the place where we're sweating and stuff. There's also another great piece of art. A fan painted it. We brought it home from tour.
Yeah, I was somewhere in Europe after a festival. It got handed to somebody and then handed to me, and I felt it was just too amazing to leave behind. And so I put it in my suitcase and trekked it along throughout the rest of the tour in Europe, and then put it on a plane, came back home, and it's lived with me ever since.
I was like,
And Debbie insisted that it got hung.
who is she? These were gifts for our weddings. This is an aqua bag. I like it because I think the pattern looks like blood, and it's filled with water like sweat, and it's shaped like a tear.
This is our gym setup that we have here at the house. We wanted to create a space that has everything that we would need. We've got cardio, and also, man, this rowing machine, that'll work your whole body.
Yeah, this was already here.
Another local artist, Justin Withrow at the Lookout Supply.
And then work time.
Work time, our friend Glenn, who is our boxing trainer, kind of got us into boxing. He would wrap my hands, we'd throw the gloves on, the bell would ring, and then he'd just go, work time. So that's the gym. We love spending time in there.
And that's Glenn.
It's going. Work time.
We were just talking about you.
Let's go.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Two slips.
While they're doing that, let me show you the dude cave. All right, so this is the dude cave. When we bought the house, it was called the man cave, and Josh was like, we call each other dude. We tattooed dude on each other in each other's handwriting. He's like, it's for both of us. It's the dude cave. And subsequently, I do study scripts in here a lot more. These are some vintage pieces that I got that are great. This used to be an old chicken coop. Those were from the first place that I ever lived. This oil painting is a poker game gone wrong, which has never happened here. A lot of our friends don't drink for one reason or another. Yeah, we like to make a fun cocktail or mocktail, and I think their round is up. Time.
All right, switch.
Let's go, Debbie. She's quick.
Yep. And roll.
They're doing a round. Why don't I create a movie theater room? I love movies. Debbie's in movies, and we've had some friends and family over and watched premieres of Debbie's movies in here, which is great. Because Debbie also produces, sometimes we get screeners, which basically means that people will send movies before they even come out. And so we can sit in here and watch them, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Time. Yeah, dude. Another thing that I really felt like I really wanted is a music studio in the house. And so we worked really hard on this, and I want to show you the space. In here is the control room.
After you, Jim.
Please, thank you, Jim. I think a thing that feels relatively important to me is to be able to actually have separation with recording an instrument, especially like the drums. Because if there's somebody sitting here, an engineer or producer, then they can really dial in the sounds without having to hear the drums blasted in their face. We kind of internally, jokingly named the studio the Boom Boom Room. It just was something that we found humorous, but then it turned into something that kind of made sense and we still laugh about. But We've since branded it, and we have a Boom Boom Room logo that lives on the gumball machine. It lives on the side of the studio desk. It lives in the drum room on the drums and the Boom Boom ring. Now, in here is, I gotta say, my favorite room. It's the drum room. There's a lot of really cool things about this room. Number one is that there's a drum set in here. That's by far the coolest thing. But it's also got more Dabs Mila. Now, this is their design printed on stretch fabric. It's for acoustic purposes. Actually, every wall in here is fabric. Just so cool to come in and dim the lights, maybe close the shades, and get into a space that is really inspiring and just play here for hours. The drums are made by a company called SJC Drums. I've been working with them for over a decade. And every tour and every album cycle, I call Mike, who's the owner. We sit on the phone for an hour, and then we send reference photos back and forth. For this one, I said, hey, I want a drum kit that just lives in the studio, but I want it to be very specific for this space. And as we began talking, I shared the story about how we got engaged in a treehouse. And so we said, what about a tree-themed drum kit? And then a couple details with these drums. One time, Debbie took me to her old high school, and I carved in a D and a J in the bench. And so I sent them that photo, and then they put some carvings in each drum. And then they also got a little engraved Jim on the snare drum. These are director's chairs, and these actually do exist on movie sets. And I would know because I spend a lot of time sitting in a chair just like this when I come and visit Debbie. And a lot of time visiting the snacks on set, too.
When I booked this, which was my first, like, real big job, and it said my name, man, I was like, maybe I can do this. Like, I can actually do this. And I think it really feels surreal and special. And so it's sort of a memory of not only like the project, but each one of these shows represents hundreds and hundreds of people, all with incredible skill sets and people who work really hard to make these projects happen and that you get really close to and you get close to their families. And so I like to keep them with me, especially when sort of building our future. So then kind of the final bit is Recovery Center. This is extremely Josh's jam.
Out here, we've kind of turned into, we've got the gym, the boxing ring, the drums, and then, whether it's starting the day or ending the day in a sauna, getting another sweat.
A lot of times for me, that is my primary sweat.
But then the cold plunge. The cold plunge is set at 39 degrees, and it's amazing to both start and end your day on.
Up we go to the place where we rest. This was our Christmas gift to one another.
When we moved here, we started drinking a lot more filtered water. So we got a filtered water dispenser right outside of our bedroom, and now we use it in the morning and night and all in between.
We have currently saved 517 plastic bottles so far.
We are amazing people. This is our room. It's also Velma's room.
Yeah.
She sleeps on the bed most of the time in here.
This wallpaper was one of the first things that we picked for the home. I like that it was like old school American style tattoos. I love that it said true love forever. I loved the idea of going full French style, having the drapes match the wallpaper. And yeah, again, like we wanted some new, some old. These were original. I think maybe we swamped the shade. And then the ceiling fan. It's very Ohio.
I think it's an Ohio thing. That was like maybe one of very few points of contention that we ever had designing this house.
But I lost that one and I'm glad. It's great for the sleep and yeah.
This is us. We were in Paris. Debbie was doing some Fashion Week. I was doing a festival in France. And a photographer that Debbie knows named Nicholas, he just kind of met up with us and we spent the day taking photos. And so we thought that one was so cool and so good. We wanted to print it, frame it, and put it in our house.
Between that and the like table and sitting area, if you stand right here, you can see exactly 4 nipples, which is nice. It's
That's
nice
true.
to see that at the last thing before you go to bed.
I was recording and we were in a studio where a guy pulled out his phone and he changed the lighting in the studio. And I was like, how did you do that? And he got me on to just kind of like customization of a mood. And so now I've got a lot of the house really set on timers that dim lights and change colors of lights because I think it's sweet. And so with a touch of a button, it will change the lighting. I don't touch light switches anymore.
Meanwhile, when you're not here, I'm just stumbling around, feeling things, bonking myself on the metal. So that's why I've been really trying to put some round, soft furniture in here.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to touch that light switch.
Thanks, guys, for coming to our first ever marriage home collab. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really nice having you guys in Columbus. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thanks, AD.